Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and today's video is going to be all about Rose Inc. So if you're unfamiliar with the brand, it is a clean beauty brand founded by Rosie Huntington Whiteley, I think it is. They have non-comedogenic formulas for all skin types sustainably made with bioengineered ingredients. And this is basically a clean beauty brand that is vegan, cruelty-free, and sustainable. So I did pick up essentially a full face. I didn't pick up everything that they carry, but I picked up basically all of their makeup items with the exception of a couple of products that are being discontinued. But the reason I decided to kind of launch into this video is that they are currently having a 25% off sale that I was able to take advantage of. And that is running through 8:59 p.m. PST on Thursday, June 29th. So essentially midnight Eastern on Thursday. And I was able to stack that 25% off with a 20% off code, which is HELLO20. So I was able to kind of pick up most of what they carry at a pretty good price. And I haven't really tried much from the brand, so this is kind of my deep dive first impression, if you will. So I thought I would start off by showing you everything I picked up, and I will have timestamps down below if you'd like to skip ahead to a particular section. So I will mention that I had purchased, I guess, a couple of their products before this haul. So I did have their Rose Inc. Solar Power Luminous SPF 30 Serum. So this is their SPF 30 serum type product. So I will be using this. Seems to have gotten, I don't know why I put things back in the box after I've used them on the off chance I want to film a haul or whatever. But yeah, this is their SPF 30 serum. So I'll be using that even though it's dark out. And then just to show you kind of how things arrived. So it says beauty in being, effective and effortless, clean and clinically proven, and sensual and sustainable. Interesting kind of combination of phrases there. So I did have this product as well. This is the Blush Divine Radiant Lip and Cheek Color in the shade Heliotrope. I think I picked it up in the Ipsy like add-on store maybe. But anyway, this is the infamous kind of toilet seat blush, which I think we all kind of side-eyed. And I think initially, like once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it, but I think now I'm kind of over it and it's fine. So that is the blush I will be using. And then I also picked up this little sample of their basically satin lipstick in the shade Persuasive from Sephora. And I checked earlier and it is still available. So if you are interested in trying out a lipstick from Rose Inc., then that is the shade Persuasive. And then everything else was wrapped inside this kind of paper bundle. There should be a gift with purchase. Most of these products are cream, so I didn't feel too nervous about things breaking. But yeah, that's kind of how everything is nestled in there. So no particular order. It looks like I got a sample of the eye cream. I might go ahead and apply that as kind of a primer. I also got a sample of the Luminous Tinted Serum. This is in the shade 020. So this is in a little kind of squeeze tube, and I'm very curious about this product. I know people compared it to the Chanel product that was similar, and Hope Miss Tom, I think, recently did kind of a comprehensive foundation video where they compared this to several other products. And I think their takeaway was that sometimes they really loved it and sometimes they didn't. So I'm interested to see kind of how I will get on with it. But this is the shade 10, which is the lightest shade. So hopefully that works out for me. I'm very intrigued by that product. I have the concealer, and I got this in the shade LX010. And they did have a little chart on their website that did recommend this pairing of complexion products. But I know this shade in particular is Hannah Louise Poston's favorite. So I'm very curious to see kind of how this works for me, because the shade description in the pictures on the website made it look like this would be the best shade for me. But Hannah always talks about how she has very olive or desaturated olive undertones, and I don't. So I'm curious to see how that works. Let's see, I have a lip cream. I think this is a recent product, and I got it in the shade Red Red Rose. So they have a ton of neutral shades in this product, but I don't know, I was kind of compelled by a more vibrant color. I don't know if it was the name or what. But yeah, I decided to pick that up. And I did see Tanya Wells talk about this product in a recent video and how much she loved it. And I think she had like 4 or 5 of the neutral shades. So if you'd like to see some comparisons of that, to kind of save a little bit of money, I got one of their refills in the highlighter formula. This is the shade Brilliant. So in part, I was just kind of curious to see how they packaged it. So that's basically how it comes. And then it looks like a little, just kind of plastic sleeve. So I did pull a magnetic palette out to have ready, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of see that. And then I did get their bronzer. So this is the Solar Infusion Soft Focus Cream Bronzer in the shade Parrot K. And I feel like I've seen Jessica Braun talk about this product, but I don't recall whether she liked it or not. But anyway, this has their standard toilet seat design. As much as you can make fun of it, it does make it a little bit distinctive in the branding. And this is a cream bronzer, kind of reminiscent of the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel, I guess. So I picked up the lightest shade. My preference generally is for a more cool toned bronzer, but I think the next shade up, which did look a little bit more cool toned, was sold out. So I just got that one. I have their Brow Renew, which is their brow gel. And this is just a clear brow gel. I actually picked up the travel size, again, just to save a little bit of money. And it looks like they do have a tinted brow gel, but it is being discontinued. So I just picked up the clear. And then I did the same with their mascara. And I don't have high hopes for this mascara. Very few mascaras come close to my holy grail, which is the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes. So I thought I would just pick up the travel. Funnily enough, in the travel packaging, they do seem to have kind of very similar packaging. The bottom is different colors, so you can distinguish that way. But if you get ready in the very early morning and you're not fully awake, or if it's dark out, just be aware of that. And then I got one of their eyeshadow duos. This is the Satin and Shimmer Duet. And I got it in the Satin Copper and Copper Shimmer combination. So this also has that same shape. But I believe there is, yeah, there's like a divided, the palette itself is divided. So I think this has like a cream shadow and a shimmer shadow together. And then for the gift with purchase, it included a makeup bag. So I'll get into this. I think this is something you can purchase by itself. So it's kind of a silicone makeup bag, and it does have a zipper. Pretty sturdy zipper, and it does expand like so. So not bad. I think they said that this gift with purchase had like a $38 value. And then it also included a mini of the Solar Power Luminous SPF 30 Serum. So this is kind of your little mini, and this is the full size, just for comparison. This is 1 fluid ounce, and this is about 1/3 of an ounce. So on that note, let's go ahead and launch into this Solar Power Luminous SPF 30 Serum. So I will give you the prices before the discount is applied. This retails for $46, whereas the mini, the size retails for $18. But I will say that you can, if you have like an FSA savings account, that kind of thing, you can use that money to pay for sunscreens. So I have been able to get this kind of thing reimbursed. Typically, I just apply it on the back of my hand. I know most people just kind of apply it directly to the face, but I still like applying it to the back of my hand. And I did my skincare a while ago. I just did kind of my standard toner, hyaluronic acid serum, and moisturizer. So I'll just apply this to half my face. And I'm putting a pretty generous amount here. So I'm looking quite dewy. I do have dry skin, so just to kind of show you the before and after there. So depending on the complexion products, I'm not sure I did that quite evenly. So depending on the complexion products I'm using, I might want more or less of a hydrated base. If I applied the amount I just showed you, that might be, is it a teaspoon you're supposed to apply for kind of the stated sunscreen coverage? I think most of the times I've used this because I've had this for a while, and I also did purchase my own travel size that I took traveling with me. Most of the time, I think I apply a separate sunscreen underneath, but I think you could apply as much sunscreen as you're supposed to apply with this product. If you have super oily skin, this is probably not going to be a product you enjoy the finish of, but if you have dry skin, you might not mind. So they say that that is a non-comedogenic daily sunscreen with the benefits of a brightening serum. So it's not like a vitamin C serum, so I'm not sure exactly what the kind of brightening ingredient is supposed to be, but as usual, I'll refer you to the Paula's Choice Beautypedia page for that. So as far as their skincare goes, I wasn't totally on board with all of their ingredients, but because I do have a sample of the eye cream, I might as well use it. So this is supposed to be a pearlescent cream that diminishes the appearance of dark circles and puffiness. Let's go ahead and dig into this. So the way they had you rip it off is kind of awkward, but so that's the kind of texture, consistency, and I'll just put a little bit on my hand. Doesn't really smell like anything, so I'm a fan of that. It feels nice. It feels a little bit on the thicker side, but as someone, again, who has dry skin, I don't totally mind that. And again, it doesn't really smell like anything, so I'm a fan. So I know we're trying a concealer later, but I do like to apply an under eye corrector. And I think I'll just kind of go in with a product that I'm very familiar with and know well, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury Under Eye Corrector. And I think in general, the Rose Ink aesthetic is a little bit more kind of minimal. I mean, it is a clean brand, again, whatever that means to you, but this is a product that I think I can get away with without any additional concealer or whatever, so I think it's natural enough for this kind of aesthetic is what I'm getting at. Okay, so on to this tinted serum. So again, I have the shade 10. So this retails for $49. It's a hydrating skin tint that delivers powerful skincare and sheer radiant coverage. It comes in 14 shades, and this shade 10 is supposed to be fair skin with a cool pink undertone. So just kind of a standard pump there with an airless packaging. I'm a little relieved that they did this rather than the kind of dropper style. I like the mechanics of this, like it's kind of fun, but it's just a little bit, I guess, more finicky for me. So they recommend that you put this on the back of your hand, and you can see it has kind of those little pigment spheres interspersed in the serum, I guess. So they recommend using a brush, and I have this Beauty Pie Seamless Foundation Buffing Brush. I tried to kind of select brushes that seem to be similar to what they were selling. I don't know, I just feel like that kind of all just went into the brush. So I'll start off with one side. It's a decent amount of coverage in terms of a light product, and I am a little flushed at the moment, so we can see kind of how well it covers redness. But yeah, they do say it's going to be sheer. So yeah, it does take down some of the redness, but I think this is definitely a product where I want to probably apply some of the concealer onto the face as well. So I think that was about one pump. Let's see what happens if, try and get you a close up here. So that's kind of how it's looking on the back of my hand. So this is a product that I might enjoy more in the winter months when I want kind of a lot of hydration. If I still want kind of a light coverage, And again, this is a product Tom said was very kind of temperamental. I wonder if it's because it does have squalene pretty high up in the ingredient deck. There's water, hexyl laurate, glycerin, pentylene glycol, octadodecanol, and then squalene. Squalene, I think, ooh, did I get my hair? Is an ingredient that can be, I think, kind of temperamental sometimes. So again, we're just going for kind of sheer coverage here. Still feeling very kind of moisturized for sure. Okay, so that is the tinted serum. I guess for now, my thoughts are inconclusive. I think going in with that kind of sunscreen base at the outset did leave me with a very hydrated base. Let's see, very light coverage. So like I said, I think for me, my kind of initial thoughts are probably really good for a winter no makeup day is kind of where I'm thinking. Okay, let's go on to the concealer. So as I mentioned, I'm very curious how this shade is going to work out. This retails for $30, and they say it is a does-it-all concealer that brightens, blurs, and contours while nourishing the skin. It comes in 20 shades, and this LX10 shade is fair skin with neutral undertones. My eyes are watering just a bit, but I'm just going to apply this. It does have a very kind of substantial doe foot, so yeah, I can see where this might be a good shade for someone with more olive undertones. Just want to kind of see what happens if I try to blend it out a little bit. But in my defense, the other shades didn't look like they would be great for me. Very, very creamy. So I'm just doing initial kind of blending with my finger. It is really interesting how they went with a very, very sheer base and then kind of a more pigmented concealer. I know Hannah often doesn't use kind of a dedicated foundation product. She kind of does a combination of like this concealer and like a green color corrector even. I do like how this is kind of blending in. I don't honestly, you can see it's not really sticking to my nose though. I don't mind a thicker kind of concealer if it is going to be kind of more creamy and hydrating, to be honest. So maybe a tad light for me. Maybe I could kind of benefit from one of the other shades, especially when it's kind of blended out like this. And just for the sake of comparison, so this concealer also has about 1/3 of an ounce. Let's see if I can grab like the new Dior concealer. This also has about 1/3 of an ounce. So I think it kind of makes sense that if it's meant to kind of double as a concealer and foundation type product, that it would come in with a little bit more product. I'm looking for where my Givenchy concealer ran off to. Maybe I'll just insert it once I can find it, but yeah, same general principle applies. So that is it for the kind of base, and I think once we get some bronzer on, it won't be too bad. So that was the concealer, and then make sure I don't grab the mascara. Okay, so this is the Brow Renew Enriched Clear Shaping Gel. The full size retails for $26. This travel size is only $12. It's supposed to be a conditioning pomade serum hybrid that volumizes and grooms for expertly shaped brows. So that is what the spoolie looks like. Kind of a normal spoolie for this type of product, not anything crazy. And I think it's going to be a little bit more on the natural side in terms of hold. I think the way they described it as a hybrid pomade serum, I think I would expect it to be a little bit more kind of flexible. So it is keeping the brows up, It doesn't feel crunchy or anything. So far so good. I don't know that I would trust this to remain absolutely budge proof throughout the day, but so far so good. And then next up we have the eyeshadows. So that is what the component looks like. You can see it has a sticker on the back that kind of represents the shades. And the full duo retails for $30. You can buy a refill, which is $12, but just to show you kind of how this would work. So I just have a little pin, and if I take that and put it through the hole here on the back, that is the little half moon that comes out. I was curious before I bought this whether there would be kind of a plastic divider. And it does actually have a sticker on the back, so I do give them props for that. You know, that's one of my kind of pet peeves with these kind of refillable products. So just again, out of curiosity, oh, they kind of stick together. That's fun. So it's the same general size as the blush. The bronzer is a little bit bigger. And I only have a refill of the cream highlighter, but I'm assuming it would probably be the same size as well. And just while I'm talking about it, it looks like they do have 2 holes on the back of the blush. I don't think I bothered to pop this out yet. Yeah, they do have a sticker. So again, huge fans of that. 10 out of 10. So let's go back to the eyeshadow. And if you did have both products, even though they're the same size, I think it's fairly easy to kind of distinguish different shades, different products, that kind of thing. So I don't mind them being the same component. And there is a mirror that has a little sticker on it. I'd say it's, you know, enough that you can do probably one eye at a time. And this is kind of my dilemma here. I'll do a primer on one eye but not the other. Typically I always use a primer, and I don't use a lot of cream or liquid shadows because they tend to crease on me. So I'm just going to apply this Moira primer, which doesn't really give any kind of pigment or anything to the eye. So I'll just apply that to the right eye to see if it helps prevent creasing. And this isn't going to be a wear test or anything like that. I think it's after 10 o'clock right now, so I'm just going to kind of see how things go. But in the space of filming this video, I thought it would just be perhaps helpful. And you can see that cream, it looks like it does have some of the sparkles from the shimmer shade already kind of mixed in there. Very interesting, very thin feeling. Like it really doesn't really feel like a cream at all. So that's how they swatch on the back of the hand. I'm kind of rethinking the brushes I want to use, to be honest. Well, for me anyway, it's probably a good thing if it's not super emollient. I'm going to use this Refer 21 brush in that darker shade. And you can see as I'm kind of putting my brush into it, it is showing some brush marks. So very interesting formula. Can't think of anything like it at the moment. So that's kind of the basic shape. And then I guess I'll start off with this LaRouche tapered blending, or LaRouche maybe, just to see how it goes. And then I guess while that is still a little bit tacky perhaps, I'll just go into this other shade with my finger. Definitely more of kind of a topper shade. See what happens if I use the other side of the brush. So it's pretty, it's just, I just don't think I really know how to use it, to be honest. Okay, so this I'm just kind of tapping on. It seems like it requires a little bit more effort than just, I don't know, like a Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize or something. I know these have been out for a while, and I think recall people talking about it and not being kind of over the moon about the formula. I don't hate it. I think it's just weird. All right, so I think I'll leave it there for the top lids. I'm just going to take, again, this Refer brush and see if I can kind of get some of this darker shade on the tip. Concealer isn't creasing too badly, I'll give it that. So the shadow does seem to kind of stay where you put it for the most part, which is good. Yeah, really interesting product there. So I'll go ahead and do the mascara while we're here. I want to set my under eyes, and they don't have a powder. I'm going to use this little by Terry Hydra Powder. It's kind of a very light hydrating powder, and this is an old e.l.f. small tapered brush. Yeah, I mean, can you see that? Normally I would have some definite creasing going on. And so this really is more to prevent the mascara from transferring. Okay, so now that that's powdered, I'll go ahead and do the bottom lashes. So this is it looks kind of like the Tower 28 wand, to be honest. I think I have a sample of that. Okay, so this is the Tower 28 wand, and this is also a similar size, I guess. Don't they look similar? I forget when the rose ink came out, but I remember Tower 28 making such a big deal out of their wand and how like innovative it was. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in here. I can see I do have a little sparkle fallout probably. It's not transferring a ton. So this is a brand new tube. Honestly, I think I would prefer it to be more subtle on the lower lashes. But let's go ahead and curl the upper lashes. Very natural mascara. And I think they said to kind of start off with the shorter bristles and then maybe turn it over. I think those are the longer ones, yeah, to add more length. So, you know, not my favorite. I think I do prefer a little bit more volume, and the reason why like the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes is my holy grail is that having that kind of waterproof formula helps hold the curl, and my lashes tend to be very straight and kind of stick down. So without knowing kind of how this wears, it seems, you know, kind of defining for a natural lash. I think honestly I prefer how it looks on the bottom lashes than the top, but yeah, that is how it looks. And I guess just for the sake of why not, see if I can build it maybe a little bit. But like I said, I didn't really have high hopes for this mascara to begin with. So that is the eyes done. And if I didn't already say, the full size retails for $28 and the travel size is $15. It's supposed to be a rich, glossy mascara that lengthens, lifts, and fortifies lashes. All right, so moving on to the bronzer. So I haven't powdered the perimeter of my face. I just powdered underneath the eyes. And this is the Solar Infusion Soft Focus Cream Bronzer. It retails for $36. And they say it is a mistake-proof bronzer that instantly warms the complexion while blurring pores and texture. Comes in 4 shades, and again, I have the shade Parrot K, which is light. So it looks like they sell a duo fiber brush. So I pulled out the one that looks similar to me from my collection, and that is the MAC 187, I believe. So that is what it looks like. This is the older MAC 187. I'm really kind of going in there. I'm not sure if their duo fiber has kind of as much of a duo fiberiness. But anyway, this is the older one, which is partly natural, I think. It's like a natural and synthetic blend. The newer MAC brushes are all synthetic. So it's not bad in terms of the color and how it's applying. I'm just getting my hair all stuck in it. Yeah, I think it's nice. It's, again, probably not my favorite tone of bronzer, but I think it's believable as a bronzer on me. And this duo fiber brush does do a decent job of applying it. Again, I'm not sure kind of how this brush compares to the one they sell. I was really into duo fiber brushes around, I don't know, 10 years ago. So I did accumulate quite a few, specifically for blush. And it looks like I have a spot down there. It doesn't want to stay covered. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the back of my hand, I think. It is a really nice texture of concealer. Maybe not the best for spot concealing, but if you don't need like an absolutely perfected base, then I think it's nice. All right, so next up we have the blush product, which I think is pretty popular. And again, I have the shade Heliotrope, which is an apricot. This retails for $32 full price. The refill is $18. And I'll talk a little bit more, I guess, about the refill pricing in a moment. But yeah, this retails for $32. It says it's a hydrating cream that brightens and blurs with a radiant flush of color. Comes in 12 shades, and this Heliotrope shade is an apricot. Unfortunately, I think this is sold out on the Rose Inc website, but it is still in stock at Sephora. So very similar component there, and I'm just going to use my BK Angie Hot and Flashy 8507, and you can tell I haven't touched this. It feels very stiff, kind of sticky almost. Interesting. So that's kind of the color not sheared out, and I feel like I'm doing Nikki LaRose proud by applying it this way. If you didn't see her kind of trying every blush at Sephora video. That is pretty. Normally I don't go for peachy apricot-y shades, but I think especially in the summer it's kind of nice. And the brush they sell to go with this, by the way, it looks like it's very similar to like the BK blush brush. So if you have that brush, it might be a good one to use with this product. But yeah, very, very natural looking, but very pretty. So that is the blush. And now let's go on to the highlighter. And my guess, based on the measurements and everything, so this is 4.5 grams or 0.15 ounces. The highlighter is 5 grams. So I thought there was a good chance that these pan sizes were the same. And because there is a pretty good savings when it comes to just buying the pan versus the component, you may want to explore just buying the pans, especially when they already have the labeling and the sticker and everything on the back. I really do appreciate that. If you did want to just carry one with you, yeah, trying to decide whether there's more space around that pan. I think, you know, the fact that it is a magnetic pan, it's not a huge deal if there's a little extra space. What do you guys think? Do you think the highlighter has a bigger component? I'm guessing it doesn't. But whether you're a makeup artist or you just wanted to perhaps collect a lot of the different blush shades without having kind of the more bulky components, or to save some money, I just pulled out this empty Viseart palette that I have just for the sake of kind of demo. I mean, they're pretty shallow pans. I have a feeling that the product would get on this little plastic insert if I put it down. But I think it's a good way to go, especially when I think most of the shades are available in the refills. And most of the refills are 18. So like I said before, most refills are a pretty substantial savings over the full size. I always hate it, like Charlotte Tilbury, for example, I feel like you don't save that much with the refill pan versus the full size powder component. This is my older one that doesn't have a refillable component. And I would probably still buy the refill just to kind of save on waste and everything. Granted, this is nicer packaging, I think, than the Charlotte Tilbury component. But when they're not paying for the component at all, it does kind of rub you a little bit the wrong way when they don't give you a good price cut. And interestingly enough, a lot of the refills are $18, even though the price of the full size fluctuates a bit. So the cream blush, for example, is $32. The cream highlighter is $30. And even the refill of the lipstick that we'll talk about is $18 when the full size of the component is $28. Granted, that's a different component, so I don't know how the pricing works, but I just found that interesting. So anyway, so this highlighter is a velvet soft cream that illuminates the complexion while smoothing the skin. It comes in 5 shades, and I have the lightest shade, which is called Brilliant, and this is a pearl. And they have like a little kind of small stippling brush. So that is what I'm going to use here. I might use my finger on the other side. So let's see how this does. I think there's definitely a little bit more shimmer there. It's a little hard to tell with the light sometimes. This is, I think, a lot more kind of emollient. So let's see what happens if I just use my finger on the other side. So very, very natural highlighter. See, I got a little bit more there. I guess with a brand, especially a clean brand kind of founded by a model, you would expect that kind of model off-duty kind of look. I'm just going to take the BK brush again and just kind of go over a little bit just to make it seamless. All right, so now we're on to the lip colors, and I have 2 different products to share with you like I mentioned. I'm going to start off with the lipstick because it's a lighter, more neutral color, and then I'll finish with the red liquid lipstick. So the full size of this retails for $28. The refill again is $18. They say that this is a creamy lipstick that plumps the lips while drenching delicate skin in moisture. It comes in 10 shades, and this little sample I have is the shade Persuasive, and they call this a warm rose. And like I said, I think last time I checked, you could still get this with a $25 order at Sephora. So let's see how we go in here. It's creamy, but it's still a little stiff, I think. Which, if you don't like a super emollient lipstick, might be a good thing. It feels nice and comfortable on the lips, but it doesn't feel like it's going to kind of smear everywhere. It has a really interesting smell to it. I think it's both like vanilla and fruity at the same time, which I kind of like. It kind of, I don't know, smells like a French pastry or something. So that is the shade Persuasive without a lip liner or anything. And the last product here, just wipe this off. I think it left behind a little bit of a tint. My instinct is always to kind of go over my lips with a beauty blender, but just have to do the best with the brush. So this last product, I admit I kind of purchased in part because of the name. And I think this is one of their newer products. So this is the Lip Cream Weightless Matte Color. It retails for $28, and they say it is a whipped cashmere soft cream that delivers a buildable opaque color with a diffused matte finish. It comes in 12 shades, and I have the shade Red Red Rose, which is a true red. So let's see how this does. That is what the applicator looks like. It's kind of a pointed doe foot. This has a very fruity smell. I think they said to start kind of in the middle. And normally I would probably use a lip liner with a red, but I'm trying to see how well I can do without it. In part so you get like a really accurate, and I typically don't kind of blur over my Cupid's bow, but it just seems like it kind of did it anyway. So again, I would probably use a lip liner. I don't know about this. I don't know that this is what I would call a true red. Maybe it's just looking orangier on camera. Yeah, dimethicone is the first ingredient. So very dimethicone-y in terms of being a liquid lipstick. I don't hate it. It's just not really my favorite, I guess. So I think that is the finished look here. So I tried about 11 products in total. So I think I'll give you my top 5 and bottom 5 if that's helpful to you. So I think my top 5 are the Luminous SPF Serum. If you have dry skin and you want a really hydrated base with the addition of some extra SPF protection, this is a mineral sunscreen, which is great for sensitive skin. So I really do like that. Like I said, I purchased this and the travel size, and now I have another travel size. So do really like that. I kind of wish it were in a pump as opposed to a dropper, but I can get over that. I think next up, I would actually put the concealer because I really like the texture of it and how hydrating it is. And it really hasn't creased under my eyes, which I think is really impressive. Again, I'm not sure the shade is perfect, and I'm not sure that there is a perfect shade for me. But if you can find a shade that might work for you, I think it is worth checking out. So those are 2. I'd say next up, the Cream Blush Refillable Cheek and Lip Color has a lot of great shades. I think it applied really beautifully. So I think this one is kind of worth the hype. So I like that. And then I also really liked the lipstick actually. So I would recommend that as being in my top 5. And I think the last item, it's kind of a toss-up, honestly, between the brow gel and the bronzer. I think I might give it to the brow gel just by virtue of it is a product I use. Again, they're not stiff. It is a product I use. I think the applicator is nice. So I think I'm more likely to continue to reach for this over the bronzer. I think the bronzer is nice enough, but it is kind of a bulkier packaging. It's kind of annoying that you have to kind of twist off the cap, and the tone is just not my ideal. So this would probably sit right in the middle, I guess, in terms of the lineup. And then the bottom 5, unfortunately, I would put the Tinted Serum. I don't think it looks bad. I just don't think it does a whole lot, to be honest. So again, so if you're interested in a very lightweight product that adds hydration, I think it might be something worth looking into. It's a little bit finicky with the kind of little pearls that you have to break up on your hand. So I think I can still kind of get some use out of it, but it's not a home run for me. And then the eyeshadow duo, again, it's not complete fail in the, I don't know, 20 or so minutes since I applied it. It doesn't look like it's creasing. And if you do tend to have eyelids that crease, I think this kind of cream formula might actually work out for you. I just found it a little bit kind of finicky to apply and blend. So not really my favorite for that reason. I'll probably stick to mostly powders in the future. Again, it's not a total fail of a product or anything. It's just probably not something I'm going to be too excited about in the future. The lip cream, the Weightless Matte Lip Color, I might not feel the same way about a different color, a more neutral color, but it feels fine on the lips. I think in general, I'm just not really a liquid lipstick person. So I think it's fine. It's just the color maybe is a little bit more, they say it's a true red, but to me it looks a little bit orangey or maybe strawberry. I don't know. So this is probably not my favorite. I also enjoy the scent of the lipstick over that, so there's that. The mascara, like I said, doesn't give me the lift and volume that I like, but if you like a more natural lash, you might enjoy it. And like I said, I knew kind of going in that there was a good chance I wouldn't really love it. And what else? Oh, the highlighter. Obviously the highlighter is kind of forgettable. So it's fine. I think because I already have a pretty kind of dewy, radiant base, that the highlighter doesn't really stand out to me. I'll have to try it sometime when I have, I guess, a more powdered base to perhaps bring a little bit more luminosity back to the face. It almost reminded me a bit of the like RMS Living Luminizer kind of thing, where it doesn't do a whole lot. And like I said, in general, I think this brand's aesthetic obviously is clean beauty, whatever that means, but also kind of more minimal model off duty kind of look. So those are my top 5 and bottom 5 for you. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Let me know if you plan to shop the sale before it ends on Thursday night. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.